What are you drinking there?
Ice.
Ice? Ice, baby, to go?
No.
Okay, let's see what's up. We have the television and we have Karla drinking and Lori, which is absolutely not drinking.
Yeah, you look at it.
Yeah, they're the best.
Alright.
Do you like those? They're good, eh?
Buddy, don't eat that.
What's he eating? Don't eat the paper, bud. It's the bones for you.
It's like a baby.
How's everybody doing today? Here I am, still in Toronto, continuing my Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka story. Now, this is Q Beach here in Toronto. Directly south is St. Catharines, Ontario. Small town. It's about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, roughly. Directly across the lake, like right south, right there. Right where I'm pointing. This is where the story picks up, because once Paul Bernardo met Karla Homolka, he would drive twice a week to see her for the first couple of years. And then he started staying overnight at her parents' place because they thought, well, why should he have to make the long drive back and forth like that? On December 24th, 1989, they became engaged to be married. The story now is going to shift to St. Catharines, Ontario. So I'm going to make that drive. I'm hoping that the sun breaks. It's supposed to be a warm day. It's a little cool right now. I'm hoping that it breaks. It's a little warmer. I think it will. The story gets darker, a lot darker. And it's not easy to talk about. It's probably not going to be easy to listen to. I'm going to tell you the whole story. That's what I've been doing so far, and I'm going to continue with it. So just to let you know, that is a warning that it is going to get darker. But we're going to get through it, and we're going to go. And yeah, I'm going to make that drive now. Let's go. In November of 1990, Paul Bernardo was interviewed by the Metro Toronto Police. The interview lasted 35 minutes. Bernardo voluntarily provided samples for forensic testing. The detectives asked Bernardo why he thought he was being investigated for the rapes, and he admitted that he resembled the composite. Bernardo was released the next day. And now we arrive at the Homolka household in St. Catharines, no longer owned by them. By 1990, Bernardo was spending long periods of time with Homolka's family, who liked him. Although he was engaged to Karla, he flirted regularly with her younger sister, Tammy. In July of 1990, Paul Bernardo served Karla Homolka's sister Tammy spaghetti filled with Valium stolen from Karla's work. Also, later on, Karla befriended a 15-year-old girl pictured here with Karla, known as Jane Doe, here with Paul as well, and they administered the drug Halcyon to her. They undressed Jane Doe. Bernardo videotaped Homolka raping the girl, and then he subsequently raped her as well. It's a little out of order, as you can tell. I've had to shoot this out of order in terms of timing to get everywhere. So this is probably somewhere in the middle of the video once I edit it, but I'm filming it last, so you can tell it's dark now, it's nighttime. I'm standing outside the animal clinic that Karla Homolka worked at, and this is where she got the drugs that were meant for animals that were applied to Jane Doe, her sister, all here. Same building, same location. If I match it up with photographs, it does look the same somewhat with these poles. Hasn't changed, and I'm guessing that this sign here from Martindale Animal Clinic is probably one that's been here for a very long time. On December 23rd of 1990, Karla and Paul decide to rape Tammy by putting crushed pills into her drink. After she passes out from the drugs and alcohol, Paul rapes her as Karla videotapes. Tammy starts to choke on her own vomit and cannot be revived. She dies, and the paramedics suspect no foul play. Bernardo and Homolka had dressed her, moved her into her room, and cleaned up the evidence before they called 911. And although Tammy had a visible chemical burn on her face, her death was ruled accidental. At Tammy's funeral 4 days later, Bernardo was caught stroking Tammy's hair as she laid in an open casket, and a 1993 exhumation revealed that the couple had placed this photo in her casket. After Tammy's death, Bernardo and Homolka would film themselves role-playing sexual encounters between Bernardo and Tammy. Karla played the part of her sister and wore her own sister's clothes to reinforce the fantasy. And I'm here at Victoria Lawn Cemetery to visit the grave of Tammy Homolka, and this is very, very difficult to find. Not much information online. Huge cemetery. I'm gonna do my best. I'm losing light. But I thought she is an innocent victim of the murders. Yes, she's related to one of them who committed the crime, but an innocent young girl as well. So I wanted to come out here. And I'm gonna keep looking. Anyways, you're so loved very much, and now you've gone away. Memories will keep you near. We miss you every day. And right down this street, this way, this is the location where Leslie MAHAFFY was kidnapped from. A house on this street. She was late getting home. She was at a wake for a friend who had died in a car crash, and a boy had walked her home from a plaza that's just right over there. But she was locked out. And she went back to the plaza to make a phone call to a friend to ask if she could stay the night. The friend said no, she wasn't allowed. So Leslie came back to try to get back in her house, but she was still locked out. It was past curfew. Paul Bernardo was lurking around, saw Leslie, told her what he was doing, said he was just burglarizing the neighborhood. And then she said, "Did you have a cigarette?" She got in the car, but she just sat on the side with her legs out and said, "I'm only going to sit like this," though. She was wary of him, but she sat on the side of the car, and then he, I believe, put a sweater, something over her head, got her in the car, put her on the floor of the car, and drove her back to the house at 57 Baby Drive in St. Catharines. And here's some archival news footage regarding the disappearance and subsequent murder of Leslie MAHAFFY that was aired on TV in Canada.
Leslie had gone to this Mac's Milk Store on Upper Middle Road in Burlington after attending a memorial service for a schoolmate killed in a car accident. From there, Leslie had walked home with a friend. Then, for some reason, instead of going into the house, Leslie returned to the Mac's Milk Store. It was the last place she was seen alive.
By June of 1991, Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka had moved out of the Homolka's residence. They moved into a rented house in Port Dalhousie to allow Homolka's parents to grieve. The infamous house on Bayview Drive has subsequently been torn down. I'll be getting into more of that later, but there is a house that stands now on the property. Here it is right here. In the early morning hours of June 16, 1991, Bernardo and Homolka tortured and raped Leslie MAHAFFY while videotaping her, finally murdering her. Karla says Paul strangled her. Paul said that Karla gave her a lethal dose of halcyon. They left her body in the basement until they figured out what to do next. They decided to cut up her body into pieces with the circular saw. The details of what Leslie went through are extremely graphic and extremely upsetting, to say the least. I'll share with you, at one point, Bernardo said, "You're doing a good job, Leslie, a damn good job. The next 2 hours are going to determine what I do to you. Right now, you're scoring perfect." These are all recorded on videotapes that were played at Bernardo's trial later. The assaults escalate. MAHAFFY cries out in pain, begs Bernardo to stop. He does not. She later tells Bernardo that her blindfold seems to be slipping, which signals the possibility that she could identify her attackers if she lived. One or both of Bernardo and Homolka decided that Leslie MAHAFFY could not live, as she was able to identify them. I'd also like to add that while MAHAFFY's body was in the house, the Homolka family had dinner. They came over for dinner while Leslie MAHAFFY's body was laying in the basement. And here I am now in Thorold, which is just outside St. Catharines. I'm at Lake Gibson. This is where Paul Bernardo left Leslie MAHAFFY's body, encased in concrete blocks. Now I'm going to show you this bridge behind me. This is where he would have taken the body over. I hate to use the word dumped over because we're talking about a person here. So, and there are pictures of the blocks that are when they were on the shore. I'm gonna have to include that picture to show you where, I don't have to, but I'm gonna show you where that beach area was, kind of like a small beach area. And it's right here.
Police discovered her body, dismembered and encased in concrete in the shallow waters of Lake Gibson near Thorold.
I'd like to note that on June 29th, the day that Leslie MAHAFFY's body was discovered on the shores of Lake Gibson by a fisherman and his son, she was identified by the braces on her teeth, but on that day, that's the day Paul and Karla got married in Niagara on the lake, the very same day. And yeah, that was a horse-drawn carriage. Just on a personal note, doesn't he have the face of someone you just really, really want to punch? Just before Good Friday, 1992, Kristen French left school here on a Thursday and walked down this road where she met up with Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka, and I'm going to take you to where she was kidnapped from. But this is her high school right here. This is a wall of names just outside of Kristen's school, and I'm assuming they're all students who have passed away, and Kristen French is the first name. Wow. I didn't expect to see that. I didn't know this existed. Wow. getting quite rainy and dark. And this is the church parking lot right here. So it's about a 4-minute drive. It's got to be about a 30-minute walk from the school to here. She was kidnapped from this parking lot right here. They stopped right, I believe, in this lot by this tree and pretended to need directions. And there was a map of Toronto they were using. We're in St. Catharines. And Kristen French, being the sweet young girl she was, offered to help Karla Homolka. Karla put the map out on the car and said, "Can you show me where the Penn Center is?" And so while Kristen French was trying to make sense of what this map was, it said Toronto, like it was a Toronto map, but she couldn't tell yet. Paul came around, got her with the knife, threw the knife, forced her into the car, took her away, but they left her shoe behind here in the struggle. And that was the one clue the police had to go on. They found her shoe here, and this is where they started searching, fanned out from here. Her house is right around the corner. She's so close to home. It's unbelievable how close to home she was. They were coming this way up the street, Paul and Karla, and they spotted her, and they turned around, pulled up here, waited for her to walk past. I'll show you right here. So from what I can tell, so there's the church there. It's raining now quite heavily. There's one parking lot, but the parking lot, this is the main road here, the parking lot right here is much bigger on this side. So I'm assuming it's this one here. And that tree would be the tree that he was happy about, Paul was, because it provided cover. And there's no other trees on that side that big. And there's this tree right here.
On Thursday, April 16th, 1992, the day before Good Friday, police focused their attention on yet another missing teen. 15-year-old Kristen French disappeared while walking home from Holy Cross Secondary School in St. Catharines.
Over the course of 3 days, Homolka and Bernardo tortured and raped Kristen French, videotaping every single act. During these 3 days, Kristen is shown a videotape of MAHAFFY's rape. During her captivity, Kristen was forced to drink large amounts of alcohol and submit to Paul Bernardo. As well, she was never blindfolded and could easily identify her captors. Close to the end of the 3 days of horrific abuse, Kristen became more confrontational and even said to Bernardo, "There are some things worth dying for." Paul Bernardo especially was quite delusional and thought of Kristen as somewhat of a house guest, and also thought of himself as quite the burgeoning rap star.
You ever get caught? No, never. Why? They say. I'm a deadly innocent guy.
These rap tapes were played at his trial, and I've heard that he's not happy that they've leaked online, so I think I have to play some more then.
You ever get caught? Did you ever get caught? Did you ever get caught? No, never, never. Why? I'm a deadly innocent guy. So keep on fronting, man. You fronting and you ride like you tough, man. You ain't been where I've been, man. You ain't seen what I've seen. You ain't at where I'm at, man.
Bernardo and Homolka murdered Kristen French before going to the Homolkas for Easter dinner. Homolka testified at her trial that Bernardo strangled French for 7 minutes while she watched. Bernardo said that Homolka beat French with a rubber mallet because she tried to escape, and French was strangled with a noose around her neck, which was secured to her hope chest. After the murder, Homolka then casually went to fix her hair. This is a very, very busy little road, but 28 years ago, it would not have been this busy. It was definitely a less used road. There was not as many houses around this area. There are now. This is #1 side road in Burlington. And this is just a stone's throw, literally, away from where Leslie MAHAFFY's grave is, where she's buried. And this is where Kristen French's body was found, just off the road there in the brush. And the reason why Paul Bernardo left her body out here was he wanted to confuse the police and make them think that the killer was from Burlington. He thought he was quite clever, thought he was quite the master criminal. But it's just off the side of the road here. where Kristen was discovered. Kristen French's body was found on April 30th, 1992. She had been washed and her hair was cut off. Although it was thought that French's hair was removed as a trophy, Karla Homolka later testified that it was cut off to impede identification.